I want you to think about the word almost. It's a word that we use all the time, and it's part of our everyday language. We're almost there. We're almost consistent. We're almost ready. We're almost committed. We're almost at goal. And the word itself, it sounds pretty harmless. But the reality is, it's actually the single most expensive word that we use in business. Because almost hitting your goals, almost following through, almost keeping your word, that's where I'm trying to go with this here. The cost of almost is really momentum, confidence, and trust. And most people actually say it every day, and they pay this cost every single day without even realizing it. My name is Coach Dan, and I work with small businesses and entrepreneurs and help them add at least 100K in 1 year or less to their bottom line. And here's the thing, we all have areas where we're almost doing the work, we're almost disciplined, but we're not quite doing what we need to do. And we're almost disciplined with our schedule, we're almost focused on the right priorities, we're almost keeping our promises, but we're not quite at the level that we need to be at on a regular basis. But here's the truth. What almost does is it actually creates confusion, and it's not only for us, it's actually for the people around you. So your team, your clients, even your own brain, they stop trusting your word and they stop believing in the promises that we're making, because almost means that we're getting there, but we don't actually get where we're supposed to go. We're not actually crossing the finish line, because almost gets you right up there, but doesn't actually cross that finish line. So it looks productive, but it's really just procrastination that's dressed up in effort. So you can't build confidence on unfinished work. The cost of almost isn't failure, it's erosion. It's the slow decay of your own belief that you can actually finish your work when you start, but you don't actually get to end up finishing the work. So you say you're going to rebuild your systems, but you stop halfway and then you shift to something else because you just got busy. Busy, by the way, is one of my favorite words, because we often look busy, but we're not being productive. You commit to lead generation, but instead you wind up doing lead follow-up, or we wind up, making sure that our deals are going through and we're not bringing new business into the pipeline on a regular basis. You decide to maybe delegate, but instead of delegating, your assistant or your virtual assistant winds up sitting on the sidelines while you do the work yourself, because you're afraid that training them is going to take more time than actually delegating them. So you still jump in and you take over every time something goes wrong, instead of putting your assistant or virtual assistant on the corrective path. And hey, I'm guilty of these things too. So it's not like I'm standing here from the image of perfection and saying that you're the one that's doing these things wrong and I've mastered these things. So coaches are also still working on some of the things that we even give our clients advice to be able to fix. So every time you almost follow through, you train your brain to even stop taking yourself seriously. So the problem is that you can't hit a goal that you've gotten comfortable with being in complacency with. So if you've gotten comfortable living just 1 inch below the goal, then you will never get to that finish line. So I'm going to tell you something that's really, really crazy. There's a word in alignment with why we say stuck in this world of almost. Do you know what it is? It's safety. We feel safe in not going all the way. And it is totally psychological. It is a mindset thing. We stay there. If you never go all in, you never have to face the result. True? Right? So if you stop short of just finishing, then you can always tell yourself, I could have done it if I would have just worked a little bit harder, if I really wanted to. But the truth is, I'm all good. That's how we protect our ego. That's how we self-preserve. We confuse potential with progress, so we don't have to get better. But here's the thing, potential doesn't pay the bills, doesn't hit our goals, doesn't protect our families, doesn't build your business, it doesn't lead a team, and it doesn't help the world around us, the people that truly depend on us. So here's the thing, real confidence doesn't actually come from almost doing something, it actually comes from hitting the goal. It comes from completion, And it comes from the proof that you can actually keep a promise when you're under pressure. So now what we're going to do is we're going to think about how we get past that. So to get past almost, what we need is we don't need a bigger plan. We don't need more strategies. We don't need a better idea of how to get past it. What we need to do is we need to shift our identity to become what we want to become, to get to where we want to get. We need to become that version of us. So the real question is, what do we need to become? Who do we need to become to get to where we want to get to? You have to decide what kind of person actually finishes what they start. Not the person who's working on it, not the person who's trying or in progress, but the person who actually delivers, the person who gets the results. It's the person, the identity, who drives the habits and who delivers the results. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. Where in my business am I consistently delivering 100%? Who is that person? Because I guarantee you, it's not that you're almost everywhere, it's you're almost in certain areas, but there are some areas that you can think of that you are 100%. So who is that person that delivers 100%? That is the comfort zone. So where are you comfortable delivering 100%? And what is your identity when you're delivering there? And how can we make that identity and transpose that into the 100% where you're not delivering 100% right now? The second thing is, where am I mistaking activity for completion? And number three is, where do I owe myself an actual finish line? Where do I owe it to myself to push beyond the boundaries and get to the finish line? Here's where AI can help you. Whichever LLM you like, whether it's Perplexity, ChatGPT, or whether it's Gemini, or any of the other LLMs that you're using, you could use this as an honest mirror. And you can ask AI to show you the patterns that it's already familiar with. Because AI, as you continue training the LLM, it starts to get to know you. So you could ask it and you can say, show me the patterns. Analyze the last 90 days of projects and goals. Where did I stop before finishing? What are the habits that are breaking my consistency? List every area where I've started an initiative and stopped short of finishing or did not complete it, and suggest the next step to be able to finish it. That is a super powerful thing because it is going to keep track of your conversations, right? And just remember, if you're using Gemini, and Gemini does not remember your previous conversations, there are some settings that you should be toggling to make sure that it does have that conversational history. AI is not going to motivate you in the way that I'm going to push you forward, but it will give you the deep analysis to be able to figure out what it is that your next steps might be to bring you across the finish line. And it's going to expose where you've been bluffing yourself. The cost of almost invisible until it's way too late. And then we get to the point where we didn't quite finish, and then you're looking at and trying to figure out why. Why didn't I get there? Well, I could have done things differently, but it's okay. There's always next year. If that sounds familiar, this is your opportunity to interrupt that pattern and change things for yourself for the following year. So it's lost time, it's lost momentum, it's lost credibility. And if you want to build that confidence, stop chasing perfection and start completing. Change that identity, change your mindset, and start shifting the focus into completion. Use the AI tool, figure out what those gaps are, because done is better than almost perfect every single time. Your business, your reputation is actually counting on it. And you know what I'm willing to bet? There are people around you that are depending on you that need you to cross that finish line, because your world and your business and your life around you will get better, because everything is not in the 90%. The magic happens in that 10%, which is the gap between where you are right now and getting to the finish line. It's not about the finished work, it's about the potential of what happens of where you can reach it. So stop living 1 inch below your true potential and start living large.